It's that time of year. The 2023 property tax appeal season has begun. People are getting shocked by what they are getting in the mail. This has been happening for the last couple of years all over the U.S. Part of the problem is that every year property owners are committing several deadly sins when it comes to dealing with their property taxes. It causes them to pay up to hundreds of dollars of additional taxes every year. This can add up to several $1,000s over the course of several years. However, if you are watching this video, you obviously care about what you are paying in property taxes. In this video, I am going to cover the 7 deadly sins of property taxes and property tax appeals. The first deadly sin of property taxes is believing that you can't do anything about reducing your property taxes. That is absolutely incorrect. Every state has a property tax appeal system that is designed for average citizens and property owners to use. There is absolutely something you can do to reduce your property taxes no matter where you live in the U.S. Because I work out of Georgia, I am most familiar with Georgia's tax appeal system. I am originally from Florida, so I also have some working knowledge of Florida's tax appeal system. The second deadly sin of property tax appeals is that it is difficult and time-consuming to deal with. That is not true. Now, I don't want to overspeak the other states I haven't dealt with, but I can tell you that in Georgia, the basic appeal form is a 1-page form. It takes maybe all of 10 minutes to fill out the basic form to get the appeal started. Certainly there are more steps in the process, but each step in the process is also relatively simple once you learn about it. You simply need some education. Going through all the tax appeal steps in Georgia will get you a nice 3-year tax freeze. This is a huge benefit if you are living in a highly appreciating area like the metro Atlanta area. In a tax appeal, you are trying to lower the assessed value for the current year. Whatever value that ends up, it is used for an additional 2 tax years. I mean, how great is that? It is a huge benefit of doing tax appeals in Georgia. Now, the third deadly sin of property tax appeals is people believe that it is an expensive, complicated process. The property tax appeal process is a legal process spelled out by state law. However, it is designed to be simple enough for most property owners and private citizens to utilize. You don't need a lawyer or any paid professional to appeal your own properties, whether it's your own home or your rental properties. You can do it all yourself once you learn the ropes. I promise you, the process is simple enough for property owners and private citizens to learn. In Georgia, there are no filing fees to initiate a tax appeal. And in Florida, for example, it only costs $15 for filing fee. To me, it is definitely not expensive. You just have to put in some time to learn and fill out the forms. Now, according to my cat Jaggy, a deadly sin on YouTube you can correct right now is to swipe that like button to help spread the word of this video. She also gets a special treat if you subscribe to this channel. The fourth deadly sin of property tax appeals is that most people are unwilling to look at their own properties with a critical eye. They won't engage in some stinking thinking. Many people are accustomed to the mindset of either selling or renting their properties for maximum value. There is a natural instinct to focus on positive attributes and minimize negative issues. Because in life, you are only supposed to have a positive attitude, right? With property tax appeals, you learn to engage in some constructive stinking thinking. It will be good for your wallet. What that means is that you have to be willing to step back and be critical of your own property. You make note of the defects, deficiencies, and deferred maintenance in your property. I refer to that as the 3 Ds, and that includes wear and tear on a house. You have to be willing to criticize your property in an honest way to lower the assessed value. Now, I just finished up yesterday helping a woman in Fulton County reduce her $464,000 assessment down to $429,000. It wasn't difficult at all, and she was really very happy. She had a nice, well-maintained house in a nice HOA subdivision. However, I pointed out issues with her house that needed attention. I helped her engage in constructive stinking thinking to help her get a large reduction. Stinking thinking in an honest way can help save you a lot of money every year when it comes to paying property taxes. Now, this leads me to my fifth deadly sin of property tax appeals. Some people think that you have to lie or misrepresent your property to lower the assessed value. That is factually untrue. Tax assessors' offices have a right to inspect your property, so you don't want to state things that are untrue. You don't want to make things up. I certainly don't subscribe to that. Anything I write or submit in a tax appeal, I can back up with documents, photos, or testimony. You don't have to lie or misrepresent your property. You just have to know what you're doing. Many people are intimidated by the idea of challenging the county's values, but having conviction and determination goes a long way to getting your assessed values lowered. At no time do you need to lie or misrepresent your property to win a tax appeal, but it certainly helps to learn the subtle art of persuasion. The sixth deadly sin of property tax appeals is that people don't go all the way through the process. In Georgia, if you bail out midstream, you won't get your tax freeze. If you do go all the way to the end, you will, by state law, get your tax freeze. Even if you don't get a value reduction, you can at least be assured your values will not be increased for the next 2 tax years. As I said earlier, freezing an assessed value for the next 2 tax years is still a huge win, especially in high appreciation areas like the metro Atlanta area. Now, the seventh deadly sin of property tax appeals is people putting their head in the sand and doing nothing. They know about the idea of tax appeals but are too lazy or too intimidated to do anything about it. They don't want to spend any time on an inexpensive process that is meant to be used for the average citizen. Many property owners would rather take it on the nose and pay whatever bill comes to them. To me, I don't understand that. The other day, someone I knew just complained that they had their property taxes doubled. I told this person this is why I file tax appeals every 3 years on every property I am involved with or consult with. He had the chance to appeal, but he chose to ignore it last year, and he got whacked really hard. His mortgage payment jumped because the escrow got hit with the uncontested increase in his property value. There are many people who now understand why I do what I do, because they see what happens if they don't do it. Georgia in particular, you always win if you go all the way. People who don't do anything and get educated get what they get. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, you are learning and educating yourself. I congratulate you. I commend you for doing something important for yourself as a property owner. Now, I do want to share some information. I recently finished my book that teaches property owners like you how to file and win property tax appeals in Georgia. I wrote this book because I have more people asking me questions about the tax appeal process and how to freeze their values. I can go into far more detail of the Georgia tax appeal process in a book than any single video. It is a meat and potatoes book packed full of information and insights. My book is based on what I've learned the last dozen years filing 200 tax appeals across 6 Georgia counties for myself and other property owners. I share information and insights that few tax officials or real estate professionals would ever publicly share. My book is available on Amazon in Kindle ebook format. Now, at the risk of sounding boisterous, I think my book is ridiculously cheap at under $10 to get all this information and insights in one place. Now, on top of that, if you don't like my book, Amazon will give you a full refund, so there is no risk to you to order my new book. But I can tell you, you won't want the refund. You know why? I have to update my book at least once or twice per year because things are always changing and I get new information and insights every year. By being an Amazon Kindle book customer, you will receive free book updates, so you will always have the latest version of my book. Buy a copy of my book, you will learn a lot and you will help support this channel. If you are a property owner in Georgia, I have a playlist of videos you can watch next. And don't forget to swipe that like button, and I will see you in my next video.